everybody.
Hi, friends. Well, from beautiful Salt Lake City, Utah.
It's Thank God I'm Atheist,
A podcast exploring religion, politics, and current events from two atheists just trying to survive in these United States. It gets harder and harder.
I'm Frank Feldman.
And I'm Dan Beecher.
And coming up on the show today, one of the things that is getting harder, or is making it harder, to live in this world, and that was
God.
this.
You guys brace yourselves. I'm not ready for this. You're not ready for this.
Oh, did you see the debate, everyone? We're gonna try to keep things in focus and refocus our attention on what's actually important and what's at stake with this election.
Yeah,
and try as we might to just.
We're not moving to Canada yet, people.
Not that they'd take us.
Right.
Well, they'd take you.
They'll take me.
Yeah. Well, but whatever.
Yeah,
all right.
Not everybody was lucky enough to have a Canadian mom. So.
Right. Yeah. So anyway, first we've got some stories of the week.
Yeah.
Stuff that's happened. This one, I am the one that I'm starting with, Dan. I'm actually shocked. This is a story that's been going on for a while, and I had to actually go back to, I found an older version of the story from 2023 and was like, oh, shoot, we surely talked about this. And I went back and went through the episode descriptions. I don't know how we missed this because this is an amazing story. It's coming to us from San Antonio. And the only reason I'm bringing it up is because there's been a really nice update to the story.
Oh, good.
So I would have talked about it either way, but we didn't even talk about it in the first place. They're in a West Side neighborhood of San Antonio.
Okay.
It's capitalized West Side, so I think it's important.
Okay.
A West Side neighborhood. And this is allowed by city code. A house has sort of turned into a church. And which is fine.
What sort of witchcraft is this?
Churches are in residential areas. Whatever. It's to be expected.
Sure.
I don't know that I would like it if the house next door turned into a church, but whatever. The problem with the Infant Jesus of Prague Church,
Whoa,
and shrine, which
we're in little Czech Republic. San Antonio, is that where?
The problem really started not as it started turning into a church, a very Roman Catholic looking affair, which the local archdiocese has been very clear. They have nothing to do with this thing, right?
Okay.
Everything would have been fine except the priest put some loudspeakers up and is playing the sounds of church bells.
Okay.
Every day of the week.
All right, calm
multiple
down.
times a day.
What?
The woman who lives directly behind the so-called church is woken up every morning to the sounds of bells.
Wait, what time
chiming.
is he doing this? Is he doing this at like 6 a.m?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. It doesn't say exactly. But
you either buy the fucking bells.
Yeah.
You be a man and you buy actual bells, or you're out. There's none of this loudspeaker nonsense.
Yeah, because it doesn't sound right, for one. And also, he's really cranked up the volume, right? Like, apparently it's really loud.
Oh my God.
It is, so 3 times a day, Monday through Friday, the bells are chiming. And then 5 times a day on Saturday and Sunday. It is a noise ordinance violation. The city has been citing him, Father John Gabriel, but he said they cannot control what we do. No one can. The government can't. The city can't. No one can. We are a valid church. We are tax exempt, federal and city and county and state. He says.
Wow. Bold. I'm going to say bold. B.
You want bold?
I'm going to say that, like, to be able to say in the same sentence, oh, we don't pay our fair share, and therefore you can't make us do anything.
Right. Well,
that's a powerful statement.
You want another powerful statement? He also said, buy us out. Otherwise, shut the hell up.
Oh my God.
So
I can't decide, but I think I kind of like this guy.
well, he's he's a bold fellow, I suppose.
Yeah. Just a real peach.
He's not backing down. Well, thankfully the city has confiscated the speakers. That's they intervened. That's the big update to the story. This has been going on since at least April of 2023. That's when like the neighbors started complaining about this officially, and the city has just been, I don't know how it takes the city over a year to resolve this situation. The neighbors were absolutely at their just wits' end.
It sounds like this guy was ready to have his own little Alamo moment. I'm surprised we didn't hear about gunplay or whatever.
I know, like, I mean, it's bad. Like a dog barking like endlessly can be annoying, right?
Yeah.
And there's not much I guess you can do about that. But like if like this happened, oh my God. I don't know. I don't know what I would do.
Unacceptable.
Yeah. So, but the city is on it. They've taken his speakers. He's probably out there just holding his iPhone up into the air with little chimes playing. Yeah.
Walking out at 3 a.m. Bong! Bong! Oh, man.
Good Lord.
I am going to return to one thing I said earlier and say, don't get pedantic with me and send me an email about how it's Chechnya now and not the Czech Republic. I don't want to hear it. All right, moving along. I'm going to do an update to a story that we talked about a while ago, in which there was you may or may not remember this, but back this goes all the way back to 2015, when a guy named Mark Janney, who is an atheist, was released from jail. And so when you're released from a long sentence or a sentence more than just a few days or whatever, you have to go to, like, you have to have a plan for when you're released. And generally speaking, you need a residence of record, which is a place that you can sort of put on the paperwork that you're going and that you'll be sure to have a place to go.
Okay.
And a lot of people don't have that. And so they're sent to like shelters or halfway houses or whatever.
Right. Okay.
And Janney was told that he was going to have to go to a rescue mission, which is basically a homeless shelter, but it's run by a bunch of Christians. And it has rules about all of their residents participating in worship services and Bible studies and faith-based counseling and all of this stuff.
Oh, good Lord.
Which, of course, the state can't require you to do. And Janney didn't want to do any of that stuff. Even, he actually suggested that he could stay at the home of some family friends, but that option was rejected. So he was basically forced to go to this thing.
Oh, dear God.
Well, he sued,
Good.
but he represented himself.
Oh.
And that didn't go well, and a district court dismissed the case. But in 2020, the ACLU and Americans United for Separation of Church and State stepped in to help out.
Okay.
And when they did that, the 10th Circuit Court of Appeals overturned the dismissal, and it went back to so that he could then sue and actually like push the state to actually do that.
Okay.
There has finally been some closure on this, which is that they settled the case. Janney gets to walk away with $100,000 in damages, and his legal fees are covered.
Wow.
So I think that is a fantastic outcome, and a really, really good news.
Yeah.
And hopefully, and there's no guarantee that this is true, but hopefully that's a sufficiently painful amount of money for the state to consider not fucking doing this to people.
Yeah. Like
this was in Colorado, so it's like
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Like the fact that he had like an alternative that he went to them with, right? And they like rejected and they're like, no, you have to do this religious one.
Nah, man, you need Jesus.
Yeah, that's outrageous.
Yeah, not okay.
Wow. Well, that's good. That's, you know what, Dan? That made me feel a little bit better
There
about
you
the
go.
world.
Don't spend it all in one place,
Yeah,
man.
that totally made me feel a little bit better. Here's something that also made me feel a little bit better, which was a surprising story, I have to say.
Okay.
Coming to us from Oklahoma. Because
one of our better states.
Yeah, I mean, everybody knows my feelings about Oklahoma shithole. And for those of you,
and you come to that honestly.
Oh yeah. I've spent far too much of my life in Oklahoma as a child, and Oklahoma, just the thought. Anyway, yeah, the Oklahoma Supreme Court actually has come down with a decision that was the right one.
I know.
What? How did this happen?
I thought somehow they had passed a law that made making the right decision in Oklahoma illegal. Didn't they do that at some point?
I guess to make this story make a little bit of sense, we need to back up just a little bit to the case of a virtual charter school by the name of Saint Isidore of Seville virtual charter school, which was being put forward by the Archdiocese of Oklahoma City and the Diocese of Tulsa as a religious K through 12 online school that the government had agreed to give funding to.
Well, I don't see what could go wrong there.
And at the time, the state attorney general warned let's see, it's the statewide virtual charter school board, right, was the one that made this decision to approve the funding, and that was a 3-2 vote. He warned them, the attorney general did at the time, that this was a violation of the U.S. Constitution and the Oklahoma Constitution, as well as just basic state law. And
you're telling me that there's someone in Oklahoma who actually cares and knew about the Constitution of the United States of America
and happened to be in the right position to actually sue them over this? Yes, and he did. He went after them, and the thing went to the Oklahoma Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court decided, let me see, I believe it was overwhelmingly, 7-1, with one justice recusing.
Oh, recusal.
So,
okay.
Yeah, because it's a 9-member court, and so it's 7-1. One didn't vote in the thing. So yes, it was overwhelmingly decided by the state Supreme Court that this is a violation of the Establishment Clause, and so forth and so on. They fully agreed with the attorney general.
That is remarkable.
Now, of course, the Archdiocese is seeking guidance from attorneys on whether they should still open the school this fall. And I guess they would have to be using their own money to do that.
Yeah.
That's
which
what
they're trying to save their money because they're going to be sued by it,
Well, I mean, so here's the deal, though. Maybe they've wised up a little bit on the topic of having their officials have direct access to children, and they made this a virtual. So there's a little bit. There's a no touching firewall that they've built up. So maybe we should be encouraging this.
Yeah, virtual Catholic schools only, please.
And maybe they should go to virtual altar boys as well.
Yeah, exactly. Or AI, altar boy AI is all they need.
Anyway, the Oklahoma governor Kevin Stitt it says that he's hopeful the U.S. Supreme Court will consider the case because he's been all for this the whole time.
Oh yeah, he's on board.
He says, I'm concerned we've sent a troubling message that religious groups are second-class participants in our education system.
No, they should not be participants at all.
Says charter schools are incredibly popular in Oklahoma, and all we're saying is we can't choose who gets state dollars based on a private entity's religious status.
Yes, we can. We have to.
Yeah, I think just the status of them being religious is what you base your decision on, and you made the wrong decision.
Yeah. That's not being second class. That's being disqualified from participating.
And I love how they're just like, oh no, religious things are second class when everything else in the system favors them wholly. Right.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't pay taxes. They're like the exemptions that they just automatically get from things like the ADA. And it's just like, fuck off. They're clearly the first class. Right. And we are all suffering in the second class.
It feels like a traveler up in the front cabin of the plane going, what? No champagne? What are we, second class travelers? Is this coach?
Will you lean my chair back fully and turn it into a bed now, Stuart?
I'm not. Bring me a face mask. I can't look at this place anymore. Okay. Well, speaking of Oklahoma, since you did one that worked out correctly, I'm going to do one that's just gone literally as off the rails as it can go. I think a lot of our listeners will have already seen this. This is about superintendent of the public instruction in Oklahoma, Ryan Walters, who I gotta say looks like. I want you to, if you want to know what he looks like, I want you to close your eyes and imagine a guy who beat a sexual assault charge in college because of his parents made a donation. And I'm pretty sure you'll just nail it. Whatever you're imagining, that's who this guy is.
And he goes to a Nazi barber.
Oh, 100%.
His barber is totally a Nazi. Like he's got the haircut.
He is a Christian nationalist through and through, and he has made a decision. It seems, I'm guessing unilaterally, he is probably pissed at your story, to be perfectly honest.
So
here's what he's decided.
Okay.
He was at a conference of the whoever's of all of the schools. I don't know what it was. A meeting of the State Board of Education. That's what he was at. And I'm just going to read a quote from what he said. He said, "We're going to make an important announcement today regarding the Bible and the Ten Commandments." Now, they tried to do a Ten Commandments in all the classrooms law, just like the Utah legislature did, but it didn't go anywhere, unlike the Louisiana legislature. So here's what he says. "The Bible is a necessary historical document to teach our kids about the history of this country." I don't think he knows what the Bible is about. I don't think he can't have read it and say that. Anyway, to have a complete understanding of Western civilization, to have an understanding of the basis of our legal system. Does he know that everything that happened in the Bible takes place in, Asia? Anyway, so here's the memo that he's issued. He says, "So we will be issuing a memo today that every school district will adhere to, which is that every teacher, every classroom in the state will have a Bible in the classroom and will be teaching from the Bible in the classroom to ensure that this historical understanding is there for every student in the state of Oklahoma." Wow.
Good for him.
Powerful stuff. Powerful stuff. So that's lunacy.
Wow.
That's crazy. and he's a crazy person.
So, okay, wait. I think I heard in there somewhere that every classroom, every subject matter, I assume then is
right. Welcome to kindergarten math.
Yeah.
Here's what the prophet Elijah had to say. It's so dumb. Already, like, there has been an outpouring of like devious people on social media talking about malicious compliance with this thing.
Sure, yeah.
Because, okay, you can teach the Bible, but there's a lot in the Bible that when the people learn about it, it makes them seriously question some shit. Because, look, I've been doing a podcast about the Bible for over a year now. The fucking thing's crazy. I don't know if you know this, but like, that's not a good book. It's interesting. I do think it's interesting.
But the moral lessons to be learned.
If you want to teach morals, that's a bad book for that. Like, you can pick and choose some good stuff, obviously, which is what they all do.
Sure.
And that's fine. I have no problem with them teaching the Beatitudes. You know who would have a problem with them teaching the Beatitudes? Fucking half of the Christians in Oklahoma. Like, you're going to tell me that the meek shall inherit the earth? They're on board with that?
Yeah.
No. It's the meek shall inherit the earth with these guns. I'll show you meek. I'll shoot you right in your meek. I'll punch you right in your meek damn face.
Their meek brand gun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there you go. That will definitely go wrong. That will go very badly. I'm not predicting like what will happen, because these days in this country, who the fuck knows? But something's gonna be wackadoo for a little minute.
Yeah. All right. Well, be fun to watch.
Yeah.
It's good. See, that's the perspective though, Dan, right? Shouldn't we should have fun watching our country go to hell in a handbasket.
Listen,
right?
if your country's gonna burn, break out some marshmallows.
Pull up a chair.
What are we doing here, people? Enjoy it.
Pour yourself a drink.
Yeah. Buy a hand basket.
Probably pour yourself a few drinks if you're like me.
It's all the drinks. Look, we are all drunk from now on. That's the rule. It's fine if you don't.
Between now and November, especially.
And then potentially continuing for many years thereafter. We'll see.
All right. Oh, Dan. This is an interesting story with interesting ramifications. It's coming from Israel. Which is just so much good news comes from Israel these days.
Nothing but positive vibes out of Israel these days. Yeah.
Where there has been a question, and I fail to remember if we've talked about, and I think we have, how the ultra-Orthodox are not drafted for military service.
I think we've talked about that.
Right.
The fact that like everybody has to serve in the military. They have a mandatory draft except for
ultra-Orthodox men.
Yeah.
And the reason being is that they need to spend their time at in a yeshiva studying the Torah.
It's vital.
This is their purpose. What else could happen? This is their purpose. It's actually their view of Israel, right? Is that the Torah is central to Judaism, and studying it is central to that, I guess, as well. And
but like, if you're just a mamby-pamby,
Israel exists to protect, the Jewish people. In order for them to continue being Jewish, they have to study the Torah, blah, blah, blah. Or at least there has to be some people, and the Haredi have taken it upon themselves to be the ones that study the Torah. Right?
They're the only ones that they think is valid to study the. If you're some mamby-pamby reform Jew, and you want to study the Torah, no, get your ass into a uniform.
Correct. Yeah. Well, the Supreme Court in Israel has ruled that the ultra-Orthodox Jewish men must be drafted into military service, just like everybody else. If you're gonna have this requirement for everyone, then it actually has to extend to everyone.
Gosh, I wonder if there's anything happening politically and like sort of militarily right now that would make them think they need more military.
Yeah, yeah, and that's definitely, I think, been part of the case. It does a really interesting thing though to Netanyahu, which is he has this tenuous coalition, right, that he's built to keep himself in power. And it's really important that he stays in power because there's these corruption charges as soon as he's out of power that he's going to be charged with, right?
Yeah, the world court is just sort of waiting with bated breath to get their hands.
And so he stays in power, he stays out of jail, and so he has this deal with like these two different this is the way it's presented in this article. These two different ultra-Orthodox political parties.
Right.
And they basically have been willing to have this deal with him as long as he kept them out of military service, compulsory military service. And so now with this Supreme Court decision, it looks like they don't need him anymore, right?
Yeah.
They don't want him because he didn't get done the one thing they want. And so there's a real chance that his coalition falls apart. And
I mean, if this is
that
the
is
thing
wild shit right there
that gets him out and that stops the madness, that would be amazing.
Yes. Yeah.
Plus,
and fair is fair. Right?
And hopefully they keep it. Hopefully, because, if you're going to have mandatory military service,
which I have my own feelings about as a concept, right?
Yeah, but I have my own feelings about it too. But like, why let these guys off the hook?
Exactly. Yeah. Because they're very special, Dan.
They are very special.
Somebody has to study the Torah, Dan.
The sense that I have I've read many stories about what it's like in Israel, but that doesn't mean that I actually know anything.
Sure.
But I'll say this, holy shit. It does feel to me like these guys just skate. The Haredi, the ultra-Orthodox, just have everything. They feel so fucking entitled.
Yeah.
The whole, like, why do I have to look at a billboard with a woman on it? Like, it's some bullshit up in there.
Get that billboard down.
Take it down.
Well, and the thing is, their portion of the population, or the portion of the population that they make up, is growing. Like the ultra-Orthodox reproduce, right? Yeah. And as with people everywhere, more secular, liberal, progressive types tend not to reproduce at the same rates. And so like they're facing also sort of a demographic shift going forward, where the ultra-Orthodox are going to be making up a larger portion of the population, at which also at that time, like, come on, like, do you want a military? Like, if that's compulsory, like, you won't even be able to like staff a military unless you get these people involved. So
fundamentalists of all stripes are just not great.
They're special.
I'm not a fan.
They're special. They're so special. They're just they know how special they are.
They do. It's true.
They're just the most special.
I'm just over here not fangirling over them at all. All right. Okay, well, I am going to take us finally to Nigeria.
Well, that's interesting. Nigeria doesn't come up often for us.
No. Let's get a little West Africa going.
Yeah.
That sounds like fun, doesn't it? This was actually sent in to us by listener Ryan. Thanks, Ryan.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit nutty. I'm just going to say it.
Mm-hmm.
So a small group of people decided to create a Christian utopia in Nigeria.
All
They
right.
called it
Better there than here. Okay, keep going.
Right. Yeah, the idea was that everyone was going to be happy and no one was going to commit sin, and there was going to be.
I mean, of course.
And
if you were Dan, this makes perfect sense. If you only have Christians following Christian values, what could possibly go wrong?
Nothing could go wrong. The way that the AP article that I found about it worded it, I'm going to not. I love that they said that it would be sinless and classless, which I understand why they used that phrasing, but I don't think that classless. It has multiple meanings.
It was tacky. It was tacky by kitschy. They're really into kitsch.
Yeah, just a little bit. Would you please get some class? Anyway, okay. So they're out there. They're trying to do it, and one would think, I suppose, that God would bless such a venture, but God has not done so.
Uh-oh.
For alas, they built on this stretch of coast, and it's pretty or whatever, but a few things have contributed to a big problem. Obviously, there's climate change, and that has created rising ocean levels, and that's not great. Add to that there has been underwater oil drilling, and that might have actually depressed the land some. Anyway, The ocean's gobbling up the village. For the last 3 years.
This is not what I was expecting.
The ocean, God's wrath has been visited upon this town that is nicknamed Happy City. And Happy City is now very unhappy.
Oh, no.
Several people have talked about how they have had to rebuild their homes multiple times further inland, but they are running out of room. And their utopia.
Oh no! So had they succeeded in creating a utopia? Had they? Was it classless and
no
sinless?
Official word on the relative happiness of this group?
And somehow they got cursed. What happened?
Yeah,
the Lord cursed them.
I mean, if sort of the standard Christian fare of West Africa holds, probably they had a gay and it ruined everything.
They were just living the most perfect, serene Christian lives.
Sinless lives.
And then one
two
of them
boys kissed.
two unrelated families bore gay boys. And they grew
ruined
up.
Everything.
And one kiss and the town flooded. Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
it's a
alas,
sad story.
It is a sad story.
I mean, I feel for them. Nobody should have to go through their town sinking. But like
1,000%. It's actually a very sad story. It is a very sad story.
In that regard, it's sad. But in other ways, it's funny. And
it's just like, what are you guys doing? What are you doing? I mean, every time I hear a story about X group decides to go off and create a utopia, that's gonna go bad. That's gonna we're pretty sure we can make it work because we don't believe that human beings are humans,
right? Well, see, here's the thing: these were people who were good at Christianing and not town planning,
right? Yeah, and unfortunately, the corruption and the government of Nigeria is not one that is particularly robust in terms of making sure that everybody's,
building on solid ground
and up to certain codes or whatever.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Alas, the Lord did not guide them to the right spot.
Yeah. There should have been some soil tests done before they built there. And
I am increasingly convinced that Yahweh is a trickster god, and we should be considering him, along the lines of a Loki or a coyote. He's a trickster god. He loves
Clearly.
to fuck with his people.
I mean,
Just
isn't
constantly.
Yeah, it's almost like it's the history of all gods. All gods are trickster gods. They like you. If you were to believe in a god, you have to believe in one that is capricious and selfish and self-absorbed and
will tell you that you are their very, very specialist best boy, and then is gonna just fuck with you.
just jerk you around. Absolutely. Yeah. Anyway. All right. Well,
there you go. That's sad for some Nigerians that their god played them like that. That sucks. If you would like to tell us about how your god played you back when you were a believer, or anything else, you can feel free to write into us, podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
or Colin leaves a voicemail message. We'd love to hear your voice. The telephone number is 424-666-8442. Stick around. There's more show coming up.
Well, Frank, we have heard from listeners. We have some folks that have written into us. You may remember a month ago, Dick wrote into us to tell us about his wife came out of the closet as a lesbian. They've decided that they want to attempt or to pursue a mixed orientation marriage.
Okay.
And you remember that, like, when they hit the internet looking for resources, it was all Mormons.
Oh,
right. Everything
Yeah.
that they found was
Yeah,
Mormons.
I remember
talking about
this. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well, Dick has written in with an update. He says, first off, we are doing fantastic. We're celebrating her journey in every which way we can. To show support, I decked out our house with pride flags for Pride Month. She felt so seen. In my quest to find some local pride events for us to attend, I innocently posted, "Know of any pride events happening locally?" in our small Northwest Indiana town's Facebook group.
Okay.
Well, that just sounds foolish. Little did I know, I was about to unleash a tidal wave. The response was swift and intense. Within minutes, it got so much religious and anti-LGBTQ hate.
Oh.
Never have I witnessed so many people publicly putting their hate on the record.
Oh.
And then the pièce de résistance, the regional Republican Party, called my in-laws to tell me to knock it off with the public displays of queer support.
What?
So,
What?
So now, that is so crazy. So now I am considering running for office as the most inclusive atheist Republican in history.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
Dick, you know that you're not a Republican, right? I hate to tell you this. I don't care how fiscally conservative you call yourself. You're not a Republican. They don't want you. Anyway, he says either I'll sabotage the local party in the next election or convince them maybe, just maybe, don't be dickheads.
Yeah. I don't know if you're going to convince anybody, but
look, we wish you the best. Believe me, but well, okay. We will hopefully we'll be hearing more.
Yeah, I actually, yes, please keep us updated.
I'm eager for updates on all of that. I don't predict it will go great.
I love the idea of running as a rhino,
Yeah.
because that does sound like that's about where he's at. So
Yeah. Just fuck with him. Why not? Why not? Enjoy yourself. You got one chance at a life. Might as well do some weird shit. Alan wrote into us to say, "Hey, Frank and Dan, I hope you're doing well. Thank you. The 10 Commandments are a Jewish set of commands, as they are in the Old Testament part of the Bible. However, the ones most people know about are the ones that Moses broke in a fit of anger over the golden calf incident. After the incident, Moses went back up to the mountain and got a second set of commandments detailed in Exodus 34. Which is funny because actually, this is Dan again, I'm breaking out. The ones in Exodus 34 are the only ones that are actually labeled the 10 words or the 10 commandments in the Bible. The ones in Exodus 20 are like, they're just, they're not even subdivided into rules, but that's neither here nor there. Anyway, Alan says, if Christians actually wanted to put their statement of faith in the schools, then they should use the Beatitudes as it's in their section of the Bible. Hope you have a wonderful week. I agree.
Yeah.
There's a quote, I think there's a meme that went around that attributes a quote to Kurt Vonnegut. I don't know if it's true, but he's basically just saying, yeah, I don't see anybody putting up. Why are they focused on the 10 Commandments? Why aren't they putting up the Beatitudes? Yeah, because they hate those.
Yeah, like we
were saying earlier, like those have things like, what you don't want to do is bring up Matthew, where, all throughout Jesus is saying things like the rich can't get into heaven, and, the meek are the blessed ones, and all that sort of thing. They hate that stuff.
Yeah.
Blessed are the peacemakers, unless they mean the gun. I'm not into it. All right, this one is unsigned. It just says, "Hi guys, I am from Charlotte, North Carolina. I recently came across a mention of this organization on Nextdoor, and they've given us a link to the East Charlotte Area Patrol."
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Like a neighborhood watch. Is that what it is?
I suppose so.
Okay.
I'll keep reading. It seems we have an area citizens patrol being instructed by current and former police officers on and off the clock. The mantra of this organization is to serve Christ through public safety.
Oh boy. All right. There you go.
They discuss Second Amendment rights from a far-right view and explain how to legally detain others they suspect of committing a crime. That's exactly what I want.
Oh, boy.
Far-right Christians detaining people.
Oh, God.
That will always... there's never going to be anything that goes wrong with that.
Are they wearing brown shirts by any chance?
Coats? Brown coats?
Brown coats?
Yeah. The email goes on. Our department also provided them with materials to equip and later certify a patrol car, including bubble lights on its roof and police type paint scheme. I am sure this is not the only one of these, and I would have never thought to look it up if I hadn't seen the Nextdoor post. Your listeners, including myself, could benefit from knowing about this and checking their local areas. This is very disturbing, and has been going on now for 15 years, and I am sure has made it a point to target every minority it could.
And it's called an area patrol?
Yeah.
I wonder if that has kind of spread.
Yeah, I mean, these kinds of things are out there, and I'm guessing there are a lot of them.
Wow.
So,
I mean, my neighborhood, I would take whatever help they're willing to.
Right? Yeah, guys put your safety on the line, and we'll just watch things. Yikes! It's nice that people want to sort of keep neighborhoods safe, but
yeah,
the kinds of people. What worries me is the kinds of people that are attracted to this sort of thing, because if you didn't have the chops to actually make it as a cop,
yeah,
this is who you're going to get. This is the Paul Blart of your neighborhood.
These are paramilitary types, right? Like they're
preppers and whatnot.
Yeah. That's not who I want to have keeping the peace in my neighborhood. I'd rather have the prostitutes out walking around.
Right? Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Well, do we have some folks to thank?
We do indeed, Dan. These are people who went to our website, thankgodimatheist.com/donate, and picked a way to help out, to support
and
the show.
Decided to be good humans.
Yeah. So we have a new teacher this week by the name of Jordan.
Wonderful. Thank you,
Thank you very much. And we have Dom to thank as well, who adjusted their membership level up a bit. And I believe Dom might qualify as a priest.
Okay.
It's coming in Australian dollars, and so.
Oh, well, so that doesn't. Is that even real money? I don't think it counts.
And so I'm gonna assign priest to Dom.
Oh, wonderful.
And so and as always, Dan, we have our top donor to thank, our Lord and Savior, Davis.
Buckle up, there's more show coming up. Okay, Frank, you made me do this. You forced this upon me. We have to talk, apparently, about that, the debate, the presidential debate here in these United States that we recently suffered through.
Yeah, it was a national trauma.
There was nothing okay that happened in that debate. It was, I mean, first of all, regardless of the fact that everything that came out of Donald Trump's mouth was a lie, he decidedly won that debate. He trampled poor Joe Biden, who basically confirmed everyone's fears as best he could. Did his best to make sure that everyone felt their fears,
and it can see him as nothing but a feeble,
doddering old man.
And it was I was very sad. I felt a lot of emotions. Now, I will be completely honest and transparent. I didn't watch it live. I could not bring myself. I was one of those. I'm in the I couldn't watch it camp. But there was one moment where I was like, I should let's just see what the headlines are, sort of the real time little updates that like the New York Times does on their app for stuff like that.
Sure.
And so I went and surprise, oh, they were actually playing the video. Okay, cool. And I looked at the video, and no, I hadn't turned the audio on at this point. And just looking at it, I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
What the fuck is going on with Biden? Like, he looked just, feeble and slack-jawed and just like confused even. And I was just like, what in God's name? I hit the audio to listen. He started talking and I was like, shut it off. And then kept updating, and then listened to like some, we were talking before the show and I called it like a best of compilation, but the worst of compilation of that debate. And it is mind boggling that this is where we're at. It is disheartening. It is. And the reason I wanted to talk about it is that it just feels so doomy, and discouraging, but there's still an important message that people need, because the thing is, I think we're all holding on to this narrative that is really strong, at least right now, which is, how do we get him to step down? Right? How do we get him to bow out of this campaign? Like,
oh my God.
And everybody's jumping on it, and it's like, and I feel like this little ounce of hope, right? At the thought of like, could we get one of any number of Democratic governors who could step in and run,
or your boy Pete Buttigieg, or like anybody,
but it in the hypotheticals, it's Gavin Newsom, Gretchen Whitmer, or Josh Shapiro. Those seem to be the three names. There are a couple others that float around a little bit, but and it's like I'm holding on to that in order to keep some sort of sanity, but I'm not actually that hopeful that it will happen. And so I think it's really important to have a conversation about how to refocus our attention on the stakes of this election cycle and staying focused on the fact that this is really about keeping Christian nationalism at bay as much as possible.
Well, that's the thing, right? Like, I've never been a huge Biden fan. I've always been pretty lukewarm on Joe Biden from the jump.
Yeah, I am a bit of a, like, Uncle Joe. I was just a fan, right? Like,
Okay.
I like Joe Biden, and if you look at his administration's accomplishments and things that have happened on his watch, yeah, there's definitely some things that we can be critical of, but a lot of really good, even transformative legislation has passed on his watch.
True.
And from the climate to infrastructure to, whatever.
Student loans, any number of things.
Really, truly, really positive, really good things. And that's because of Joe Biden and his values and the people that he's surrounded himself with, which is important. And it's important
let's
to remember
hold on to that to that phrase of people he's surrounded himself with.
Yeah.
Because it is competence top to bottom.
Yeah, clearly. Yeah.
So, and not just competence, like excellence.
Yeah.
Top to bottom.
Yep.
And here's the other thing that's really important. First of all, look, Donald Trump doesn't give a fuck about Jesus. If anything, he's annoyed that people keep talking about that guy instead of him. But the Christian nationalists are doing real and severe damage to our country right now. Like, severe. And they will ride him like a goddamn surfboard.
Mm-hmm.
He is in bed with them. And if there's one thing about him, he will reward the people who were loyal to him.
Yeah. Yep.
And he doesn't care.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't care if it like hurts the country. He doesn't care what the outcome is.
Yeah.
What he cares about is, who are my people? Who are my cronies?
Yeah.
And he will tear down this country. And if you think he's going to give up power easily, he will do whatever he can to really fuck this country up.
Dictator day one. That's what he said.
That's what he said.
Yeah.
He said that.
Yeah.
We're not saying that. He said that.
Yeah.
We are saying that, but he said it too. Here's the other thing. So yes, I will take a doddering old Joe Biden.
Yep.
And apparently, like, a lot of people are saying, like, that they're shocked because, they talked to him 2 weeks ago and he was lucid and so much better than that. I don't know about that, but I will take him surrounded by the people that he is surrounded by over Donald Trump any day of the week.
So
I will take Joe Biden dead over Donald Trump. Like, dead Joe Biden as president. No, we're not going to Kamala. It's just Joe dead in his chair. We're gonna
Weekend at Bernie's this thing.
If we gotta, that needs to happen. It is
put
so
those
much,
aviators on. Get a guy on each side of him and cart him around.
And you can be furious with him about how he has handled the Palestinian thing.
Yeah,
I am. I understand that. I'm with you on that. And yet, all things are worse if we don't make sure Trump doesn't get elected. And then on the flip side of that, we can't let ourselves be cooled by our worries about Joe Biden, because we need to be going and down and making sure that the down ballot vote
absolutely
is taken care of.
Yeah.
Because that's where the rubber meets the road anyway.
Yeah. No, and it's like so true. And like, if people stay home because they just can't stomach voting at all, right? Like because you're discouraged by the presidential race. Yeah. You're absolutely right to bring up down ballot, because whoever is running for the House of Representatives or the Senate in your area, whatever local elections you're having. Maybe your state legislature is on the same election cycle. Maybe your school board is on the same election cycle, right? There's a lot of things.
Or your senators and representatives.
Yeah.
Like, these are all vital things that we cannot afford to let just fall into people's hands, because we're deeply and painfully depressed about what's happening in the presidential race.
Yeah. I was listening to On Point yesterday, and the guys from what is it? Pod Save America, right? Which is a great show. They were on, and they were talking about, like, just the importance of getting involved right now was one of the things that they were talking about. This can be something that kind of helps you.
Feel like you have some sort of control,
being involved. Yeah. Like getting out there, and the importance of like getting the right people elected on the down ballot, the people in your area who need your help. And so with that, as
Frank,
a segue,
could you perhaps can you give me an example? I'm not sure I fully understand what you're saying.
This is actually a theme. We've talked about this a lot before on the show, which is the importance of volunteering and helping out politically. And what can you do, right? Well, I have something for people here in Salt Lake County or the area. You don't technically, to volunteer and help out, you wouldn't have to be Salt Lake resident, but it's for a local race. I'm helping a candidate who I know very well run for county assessor, which that's not the sexiest of offices, I suppose.
What? You don't say.
But it's actually, as I'm digging in and learning more about what the county assessor does and the effect of them doing it, what the effect of them doing it poorly does and has had on our local property taxation, and the inequities and the unfair taxation that we currently have in Salt Lake County, where, wealthier folks, well, it's more like high valued properties are paying a lower percentage of property tax than lower valued property. And it has to do with how the properties are being assessed. It's not the tax rate that's different. It's those homes tend to be assessed at a lower percentage, like 70% of the actual property value.
Oh,
whereas if it's under $1 million, it's much higher. It's more like in the high 80s, 90%.
Weird. You're telling me that in a Republican state, wealthy people are getting the better end of the stick, and
this is actually a national problem. It is, and it is not a Republican or Democrat problem per se. Like this is a problem with property taxation. But it does seem that the Democrats are the ones who are recognizing that this is a problem and want to fix it.
Right.
Which is what Joel Frost, who I'm helping out, is pledging that he'll do. And so I just wanted to kind of put a call out there and just say, if there's anybody here in Salt Lake Valley and Salt Lake County who would like to volunteer for a campaign, this is a really good guy who shares our values and would really get in there and fight for us all. And so if you'd like to help out, would you email the podcast, just podcast@thankgodimatheist.com, and I'll look for your email. And then hopefully
I will consider sorting through those emails and forwarding them on to the right places. My volunteering for the campaign. Does that count?
Sure. But just write in, let us know. We need people to help canvass. We need people to help phone bank. We need people to help distribute yard signs.
If you have money, you can give money. You can donate to the campaign.
Absolutely. That would just be joelfrost.com. You can go there to get more information. Actually, that's where you could also go. If you wanted to show that initiative, go to joelfrost.com and click on the volunteer tab.
That's JOELFROST.
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, there it is, the volunteer tab right there. Just wanted to double check. Or you can email directly in and I can reach out to you.
And Joel is a qualified, really strong candidate. So
yeah, he's been an appraiser
Yeah.
a residential appraiser for quite some time.
So
decades, in fact, at this point. And
and if you're not in the Salt Lake area, which most of you are not, find your version of Joel Frost in the world and
absolutely.
get out there and do some work, because we have work to do.
Yeah. And, it could be something as easy as just showing up and marching with us in a parade. Like it could be something fun and light like that. Or if you really want to dig in, there are people out there. I don't necessarily understand this mindset, but there are people who love to phone bank, right? They love calling people and talking about their candidate. And if you're one of those people, like we could really use the help. So,
all right, that's enough of you.
That's my pitch.
That's enough of the pitch.
All
right, friends. Well, hopefully we're not all in total nihilist existentialist crisis over the politics of the United States of America.
Not totally.
And don't let yourself fall in there. We're all going to be fine. We're all going to hold hands together and get through this apocalypse. So, but we got to vote right, and we got to do the work. So thank you so much for paying attention to us. If you survived this far, we really appreciate it. If you would like to write into us about anything, you can write into us podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Or call and leave us a voicemail message. The telephone number is 424-666-8442.
Yeah, to support the show, go to thankgodimatheist.com/donate.
The show is edited by Roger Gowdy, and music is provided by the Red Arc Hot Club and Gordon Johnston.
And thanks to all y'all for tuning in. We sure do appreciate you.
Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Thank God I'm Atheist is a production of TGIA Media, LLC, copyright 2024, all rights reserved.